Okay, hello, friends, and welcome, Ginger Buddha. It is so incredibly wonderful to have you for the third year in a row for our Galentine's episode. I am so excited. Also, I wish that, okay, so we have been talking, listeners, just to let you in, we've been talking for approximately 6 seconds, and we just dove right into it. And now I'm glad we're hitting record because we were like, oh shit, this conversation is so rich. We were just talking about friendship and all of that. So don't worry, tuned in at the right time. We are going to cover everything. But first off, hello, Ginger Buddha. Hello, Tori. It's so wonderful
Hello,
to
my
see you.
sweet
Thank you for being
friends.
here.
Hello, I'm so happy to be here. I'm realizing in this moment that I believe when we recorded Galentine's Day last year, I was still under construction, or was this the one where I was in the car?
Oh, God.
I did one in the car,
Oh,
like between a haircut and something else, but I feel like this is the first time I've been in my finished home in the office and the whole deal. Like Ginger Buddha finds full walls and drywall. It's a really nice look.
I tell you what, I mean, you make any space look amazing.
Oh, says you with this glorious frame around you. Are you kidding? I
Like,
love it.
thank you. Thank you for saying that.
Speaking of compliments, let's dive in,
Oh
lady.
my
Listen to
gosh.
that segue.
Hello. I also want to say, listeners, happy Black History Month. It is February 3rd as we are recording this. And Black people, contrary to what you may be reading elsewhere, do still exist in this country.
Yes. I
Yeah.
saw something fantastic yesterday that said, or it was a comic, and it was two kids, and the little white boy says something like, oh, well, it's Black History Month, didn't you know? And he was like, Black History Month is for y'all. We celebrate it all the time. Like, this is a white people holiday. Y'all need this month to make yourselves feel better and put a little salve on stuff.
Oh,
Um, but happy Black History Month indeed.
thank you.
And for white folks out there, I highly recommend there's a couple of trends out there on the social medias for those that still dare to be out there, but learning a new piece of Black history every single day of the month is something we can actively do, something that we didn't know. This doesn't need to be passive information for us this month, but let's actually be allies and actively learn about
Mm.
Black history. Not to make light of the situation, but I would like to also say that today in Black history was when Vanessa Huxtable went to see the wretched for big fun. Let it be reminded.
Oh my God.
I took a hard turn there. I took a hard turn, but I was reminded this morning that this was the thing. Big fun in Baltimore.
this is
Sorry,
so
Baltimore.
good.
wretch. I just,
No, this is
just
so
took us
good.
on a journey.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I love the journey. I really do, Tori. Also, Vanessa Huxtable. So that's a callback to the Cosby Show, right? Like that's
Oh
no.
yeah.
Shit, I guess that, yeah. So I've made an active decision. Watching The Cosby Show was one of the most positive memories I have of my childhood. And so I am not letting him have that. I am choosing to celebrate big fun in Baltimore with the wretched. It is one of my favorite Cosby Show episodes. Any listener who knows it will know it. One of Claire Huxtable, Felicia Rashad's best mothering moments in that episode. Don't you talk to me when I ask you a question. Oh, it's the best. It's just the best. Um, but in all seriousness, I don't want to make light of the comment before. Actively going out and learning something new each day is something we can actively do to become allies, not just saying it.
Yes. Okay, so this is amazing. I love this start and also okay, so not to turn hard on the friendship combo, but let's talk about that's I'm really just I'm tripping over my words at the moment. But before we hit record, we were talking about how I was in a situation last night with a friend, and she was like, I need a little bit of a primer on how to make friends because basically I was at a salsa dancing class. I met this woman named Diane who is probably 80, maybe five. We'll see. Anyway, not we'll see. I didn't exchange her information, but what I'm saying is that she and I totally had a moment. And when my friend rolled up, I was like, oh my gosh, meet my new friend. And it was just a really nice moment. And I was just thinking about okay, well, for people out there who might not have a community that they're really passionate about, how do you make friends right now and in this political climate? And what do you say in the very beginning when you see someone that you're like, oh, they might be really cool. Like, what should I do? Like, I think that's something that's like universally, an issue for some people. Any thoughts, feelings? I know I just like took away from the Black History Month combo, but I love the Black History Month combo. Also,
Well,
Tori, thank you for that suggestion.
exactly. Well, and Black History Month is all of February, which is the shortest month. And to your point, Tori, we do celebrate it all the time. So I personally love Black History Month because I feel like when I was a little kid, it was like just this like it was just like a party around being black, and it was like, yeah, obviously, why wouldn't we do that? So, but Tori, I
I,
loved
I,
your
I don't want to make it, I really truly didn't mean to make light of it. I've seen this on social media, this like, all right, white folks, it's great to do this thing, but you have to, it has to be action. And so I think it is great. And whether, if white people need a whole month to be taught some shit, let's teach us, right? Like
well,
let's grab it. And I think it is really, really important.
well, and there are other months, right? Like February just happens to be the first one. There's AAPI, there's Latinx Heritage, there's Indigenous, there's Pride, there's Disability Pride, like Women's History Month. We have a lot of opportunities really to teach ourselves things and to grow and to your point, be better allies and to be curious about shit we don't know
Hmm.
and to take it upon ourselves to learn and not, Karen, do black people wash their hair? Bitch, I wish you didn't ask me. I mean, yeah, no, more than once in
Oh,
my life, someone asked me that. So like, I need you to Google it. That's what Google's for. But um,
And a reminder that if somebody needs a month to celebrate their history, they're probably not being talked about correctly, and we absolutely need to educate ourselves.
yes.
If we're raising money for a group of people and giving them a month, let's focus some attention there.
Mm-hmm.
Petty Betty is here. All right, friendship.
Friendship.
friendship. I loved your suggestion. You had like right out of the gate, as soon as Katie said that, right out of the gate, you had to like, here's how you do it. I loved it.
So back to the question of like what is the friend? And when we were first talking about it before we hit record, it was sort of like, what's your icebreaker? And to make new friends, or if you're in a space as the new person. And some may be shocked to know I have a lot of social anxiety, and it's why I feel manic in a lot of those moments because I'm trying to overcompensate for my awkwardness. And I'm a big personality anyway, but I have felt that the best way for me to sort of disarm the situation, to signal that I am a kind, sort of gentle, soft person to talk to, is to open with a compliment. However small, like, look for something to compliment. If it, hey, I really love your nail polish, or wow, that purse is great, or, that haircut is cool. Like it doesn't need to be physical even. It can sort of go, but I find it to be a disarming thing. And I think I have maybe learned that because strangers talk about my hair and make comments that are inappropriate. So it was an icebreaker, I think, for a lot of people. Yeah, I mean, not to jump on the do you wash it, but like, is the rest, I'm not even gonna say it.
Oh my God, wait.
Um,
Oh. So wait, what is it? Do the curtains match the
yeah,
Oh,
does the curtain match the drapes? The number of men that have tried to come on to me with that, or like the people that feel comfortable talking about the color of my body hair
yeah,
because
yeah.
yeah, it's fucking disgusting. It is gross, and I
Your
find
face,
it to be
Katie.
in the same vein as, well, I don't want to, I promised myself I wouldn't go off on tangents, but like the conversation about trans children, we're talking about children's genitals.
Correct.
When you talk about my body hair, you're talking about my genitals. Like it's fucking weird. Um, anyway, that went off that went off topic. But realizing when people give me compliments, I can tell if it's skeezy or if they're genuinely being kind, and I can feel safe having a conversation. So as someone with a big personality, someone who I think I could be kind of intimidating in some spaces. So I find for myself the best way to initiate a conversation, if I'm identifying someone who's shy or I can tell doesn't know how to move into the conversation, invite them in by sort of giving them your elbow. Oh my gosh, I love the color of those jeans. Like I just can't ever find a good blue jean. Those are really great. Hey, so and so, like check this out. Remember when we were talking about jeans just the other day? Like bring them in. Like just make people feel safe and comfortable is sort of my starter. No one wants to hang out with an asshole.
Oh, to hang out with an asshole. That is
There's
a
my
mic
t-shirt.
drop right there. That is another t-shirt. I mean, I love this so much, Tori, and I love the idea of complimenting as like an opener, and also that like they don't always have to be physical compliments. I just recently I was in a yoga class that was like really, really, really tight. Like everyone was right next to each other, and the woman who was leading the yoga class was amazing. And then at the same time, I was exhausted and I was like, I think I might just want to be in downward dog or in not even downward dog, just like child's pose this entire time. So, like, halfway through the class, I just kind of like started to do my own thing. And she didn't say anything and it was fine. It was totally accepting. But the woman next to me started doing similar things. And I kind of noticed that she was also taking it easy. And at the very end of the class, everyone was getting up. I sat there. I didn't really want to talk to anyone. But at the same time, I was just like, what my energy wasn't shut off. I was just like trying to frankly not feel bad about not doing every single pose. And then the woman came up to me that was sitting that was in the mat next to me and she's like, "Excuse me, I just want to thank you for your energy." And I was like, "What?" And she was like, "Yeah, she's like, I wasn't feeling that good today and I wasn't sure if I could do all the poses, but like the fact that you like did your own thing, like it actually really empowered me to do my own thing." And I was like, "Oh my God, what's your name? This is so nice." Like I seriously, I was having a party a couple days later and I almost invited her to the party. And I came home and Tyler's like, we can't fit anyone else in our house. I was like, okay, like, and but like at the same time, I can't wait to see her again because it was something that was like really vulnerable, honestly. And it was like a really nice thing. I don't think people are expecting vulnerability. And I think that when you are vulnerable, then it's like it actually opens a door.
Well, and that, oh my God, I love this interaction. And I love that like the things you're talking about are about building connection. Like Tori, that is how you build connection with people and make people feel seen. I feel like that is something you're so good at. Tori, you have a million superpowers, but like making people feel seen is a huge one.
You're
Yes.
so right.
And
That's such a nice thing to say.
and I feel like it's like you can also tell, like we're all talking about, like you can tell when someone is talking to you to open a conversation, to build a connection, and when somebody's talking to you because they're looking for an audience,
Mhm.
and
Mm,
I
So real.
feel like, as we've gotten older, I feel like I've tried to get better at clocking the like, oh, you just need somebody to all over. Great.
Yeah. I want to go back to something you said earlier, Katie. I think it was before we hit record, but one thing that you sort of just threw in when talking about your friend who asked you this question was that she has sort of a friend crush on a mom at pickup.
yes.
And putting on my super sitter's hat here for a second, I want to say is not only is it hard to make friends as an adult, not only do we throw in the anxiety of so many people became parents during the pandemic, the internet's sole purpose is to make moms second guess and feel like shit about themselves. And I would wager, I would guess if I had to, that this other mom at pickup that feels intimidating to your friend is probably put together. She's probably dressed for work. She's probably got a face of makeup on. And I know this because I have a very similar conversation with a dear friend of mine who sees this mom and thinks she's so cool and always looks so put together. But and so like these moms are second guessing themselves about like, oh my God, I'm so frumpy. And it become or whatever it is, and it becomes high school. It becomes this high school, I'm not dressed as cool as that one. But I would bet my fucking life on the fact that in order for that mom to look like that at a 7:30 pickup, someone yelled at somebody, someone was given an iPad to occupy them before, someone is getting a Lunchable in their lunchbox. No one is necessarily getting some homemade fucking bento box with a cookie cutter heart-shaped sandwich. Or, there's all of these things going on, and the pressure in particular on women to perform and show up looking a certain way that just by these women going to school drop off, having a friend crush on these people who look put together, who maybe those women are looking at the other moms and thinking, oh my God, I wish I could just be still wearing my sweats and go home and take a shower. Or, the grass is always greener. And so I think a lot of adult friendships, particularly for women, there's so much judgment that we've been forced to like filter our interactions, right? Like it just, it's unfair. And that's why I think when we were talking about these other gestures of the shoveling 4 more feet or cut a couple of extra fresh flowers from your garden and just give them to your neighbor, or these, we'll get into this, I think, as we talk about this, but this pour the cup, like we've got to, someone's got to take the first step to create the vulnerability for it to be returned, which those of us that are extroverted, well, also being introverted or not, I think leaning on us a little bit to sort of open that conversation can help create this really strong community underneath. But there's a lot of muck to sort through before we're
Totally.
like crying on each other's couches, I think.
Oh, yes. I think you're right about that.
Could
I mean,
be
I think
could be some sludge.
there is some sludge, and I will say that like the muck to sort through before crying on each other's couches. I have definitely had situations where I'll meet someone and then I'll be crying, not crying to them, but like kind of oversharing to them in the second meeting, and then the relationship doesn't really go anywhere because I'm like, oh wait, we don't have the sludge that we've gone through yet. I did a little bit of like hurdle over the sludge, which okay, so this is getting too in the weeds, I guess, sludge as it is. But like I will say that like back to my friend that so basically what happened was I was at this thing last night with a good friend of mine who, yeah, she sees this mom specifically on social media. She knows who she is. She sees her at drop off. She has this really put together social media presence, but not like too curated. So it actually looks like very real. And my friend was like, yeah, she has this family and they travel all the time and she has this business and it looks incredible. And I reminded her, I said, social media, like it's just I'm like, I know people personally who are having crumbling situations in their lives, and their social media, you'd think that they were like, soaring into the next stratosphere. And so I
Social
would
media makes it look like I love owning a business. And I'm gonna tell
yeah.
you right now, January has made me fucking hate it. So don't believe anything on Instagram, even mine.
Honestly, don't
Go
believe
on.
anything on
Sorry, Kate, go
Instagram.
ahead.
Absolutely. And so, well, so here's the thing. So my friend, she messaged this woman and she was like, hey, I loved seeing you at drop off. Would you ever want to have coffee? And then that woman, the one, she just hearted her message. Not like a yes, it was just a heart. And so this like crushed my friend. And I was like, you know what? I'm like, it's okay. Let's move on. It also, I was like, she could have been in the middle of a fight with her partner or something like that. It's okay. Like, it's okay if you just hearted it. At least she hearted the message versus like ghosted. And so I was like, I would really recommend just in like asking her. So this was my recommendation. I was like, ask her to see if she wants to, after drop off on Thursday or Friday this week, wants to get coffee afterward. That's it. Like just like an ask, a very direct ask. So I'm very direct when it comes to like if I see someone, I'm like, let's be friends, bitch. Like let's do this. And so like, and here's the thing, it doesn't always work. It doesn't. And I have to just like move on. But I think I have just so much to say about this, but like the woman who I was talking, my friend who I was talking to, she was like, seriously, like that direct? And I was like, yeah, because like someone needs to respond to something to like then and be invited. People want to be invited to things. And so I think that was my suggestion to her. But I will say also to your point, Tori, about like how it's hard to make friends in your 40s or hard to make friends over a certain age. I think it's interesting because like I think there's a lot to that, but like at the same time, like I think it's also not entirely like a universal, like I actually think that it's kind of easy to make friends in your older years because I'm just like, all right, I think the thing for me is
Because
that
we're direct. The
we're very
direct
direct.
takes, I think that's a huge leap. I want to, as
That's a
people
huge
out there
thing.
freaking out, I can't say that. That's great.
Yes, exactly. And then I'm like, and also like, okay, this is like hot take, and I don't know how this is gonna make me sound, but I think I'm kind of awesome. Like seriously, like I do. Like
You
I
are.
think, I think I'm kind of awesome. I think everyone in the Zoom room is awesome. Everyone in out there is awesome, and I'm like, fuck yeah, you want to be friends with me? I'm fun. And so it's like, if you don't want to be friends with me, it's okay, but I'm gonna find somebody else. And like fuck yeah, like I'm just like let's keep going. And here's the other thing. I like being alone a lot. And so like I'm cool with just like chilling on my own. I'm in an Airbnb right now by myself. My sister just went to Costa Rica and she's texting me yesterday and she's like, it's so weird to be alone all the time, do everything on your own. And I wrote her back and I was like, isn't it so empowering? And she's like, oh, I guess. And I was like, hell yeah. I'm like, every day is a blank slate. So here's the thing. I'm not always like a Pollyanna positivity bomb, but like, and of course I have a lot of moments. I have anxiety, depression, whatever. I don't need to like qualify it. But at the same time, like, I don't know. I think I'm awesome. I think all of us
You
are
are
awesome.
awesome. Full stop. Full stop. And I think I would like to covet that energy moving forward, truly, honest to God, because it is a hot take and there's no, I don't know about it. You are awesome.
You are
Thank you, Tori.
awesome. And oh my gosh, so Tori, you mentioned flowers. This is the kind of like luminous ball of light that Katie is. So Katie, as some of you know, was here in person at a party for me, and people brought flowers. And when I woke up the next day, Katie had separated the bunches of flowers and put them in vases all over my living room. And so it was just like this like floral shop. And I was like, who does this? It's so beautiful and cool. And I was like, okay, yeah, that's who. I saw you doing it and it didn't register until I walked downstairs the next day that was like, oh my God.
I love that. It's like more is more. I'm also like not a minimalist at all. And so like when you two come to visit me in Ben, you will see you'll be like, okay, she likes lots of things. It's not really like it's not hoarding mentality or like like too cluttered, I don't think, but it's to each his own. But anyway, back to the whole I'm awesome thing. I think all both of you obviously are awesome. And it's like I just think that so many people are great. And it's like I just think there's so much to love about ourselves. And then, like, it just like, I don't know, it just helps when you approach people because it's like, if this doesn't, I mean, obviously, I'm not immune to, okay, there is this one person who I tried to be friends with and she's just like, not my thing. I wasn't her cup of tea. And you know what? It's okay. It stung. Yes, obviously, I'm not immune to that. And at the same time, I'm like, I'm not going to keep trying with someone who doesn't want to reciprocate. So I'm off my soapbox now.
Not a soapbox. I think for those outside listening, feeling absolutely frozen in terror at the idea of Katie's suggestion of just going up to someone and talking to them, and if they don't like you, ain't no big thing. I covet that as well because I have, speaking of therapy and anxiety, depression, all things. I mean, there's a lot of us that have a lot of baked in issues. I struggle when people don't like me, not because I need it, but because I have this like need to make sure they know the true narrative of a situation. So if I don't know why they don't like me or why they're treating me a certain way, it like makes me really anxious. I do agree with you that the older I get, the more direct I am with people about it. But I would also say, going back to your friend asking her for coffee, I'm a guess that she's a pretty busy lady. I'm a guess that she's not necessarily making coffee dates in the middle of the afternoon if she's working and making time to pick up her kid from school. I think play dates are a great way to break the ice.
Good idea.
Just because it overlaps kid time and parent time, and some parents,
Yeah.
I mean, this is one of my best girlfriends has done a couple of play dates and like the kids get along, but the mom not so much.
Mm.
Um, and they're still looking, they moved when they had one child and now they have more and they're meeting some families at school, but when everyone feels closed off and feels insecure and isn't sure, and especially to be in a state like I was saying before we hit record, I feel pretty confident in Chicago that I can strike up a conversation with anybody and it not be a problem. To the point that I found out that the bartender at my bowling alley the other day, we found out because we have bowling on Monday night, so we were there during the 20th, and he was
Oh.
streaming it, and we found out he's a Trumper, and it like I bowl in a queer bowling league, and like we were like floored. So I say that to say, or bring that up to say, like, to go to school pickup in a state where you don't know who you're meeting or what aligns with, and like talking to a girlfriend in Florida who's like starting to have the conversation about, are there guns in your house on play dates? Like
Mhm.
there's a
Oh my
lot of
God.
fucking parts to all of this. Um, and I think especially for moms who give all of themselves in some cases to their families and to their kids, there isn't really enough left in the cup to like feel like they're worthy of a friendship, I think, in some cases. And I think, again, I could soapbox forever and ever about how we just pound moms down into thinking that it's like their only job to do this thing. And so making friends and feeling insecure about yourself as a mom, perhaps your body, perhaps your home, perhaps all of these things, like to it's a very vulnerable thing to make mom friends, I think. I mean, from what I've seen, I'm not a mom, but I've seen this happen, and I think it's an extra element of making this really difficult. So start with a compliment. Compliment their diaper bag, compliment their stroller, compliment how great their hair looks in a top knot because your hair looks like straggly nothing, but they wear a great top bun at pickup or like some
I love
whatever thing.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I have a friendship hot take.
Yes.
And this is not a perfect analogy, but it's making me laugh right now, so I'm gonna say it. Shop your own closet. Like
Ooh.
you, as an adult human, have a million friends. Period. You do. And you can get new friends, especially if you've moved. You can also deepen your relationships with your existing friends.
Mm.
And that is like shopping your closet in the sense that like you pick something out and you're like, oh damn, that shit's new again. Like I feel like I just got a new shirt because I forgot I own this fucking shirt. And it
Yeah.
can when you reconnect with people, and that is one thing 2024 taught me, like reconnecting with people is like both getting a new friend and deepening your connection, like I said, with existing friends. Like I feel like that is was such a gift last year. And like last year was my also my cousin year. I have two first cousins I'm very close to, and it was really fun because we're all around the same age. And I also want to encourage people to really think about who is in your life who you wish you saw more or talked to more or you're curious about. And you might also face rejection with that person. You might reach out to somebody and they don't, I mean, I definitely had that experience of like, oh, I really wish I could talk to so and so again. And it's like crickets back. But I just, again, I think we all have so many people in our lives already that there are probably really some really meaningful things in there that you're just overlooking for whatever reason.
Mm.
Karen, this is like the ultimate hot take, actually. Thank you so much for mentioning this. I love the shop your closet
Yeah.
analogy. I think it's so strong. And if for people who are moving or have moved, it's like these are people. I mean, I don't live near either of you, and I feel close to both of you. It's like you can still talk to people on text, on Zoom, on the phone. Like I don't live, in the Bay Area, and I still, all of that stuff. I will say that I will add to that incredible hot take in that I'm not sure if the two of you ever have had this experience, but I have definitely am trying to figure out how to articulate this efficiently, but basically, I have people in my life who I have known for a very, very, very long time who have kind of like fallen off.
Mhm.
And I think of them as like, oh my gosh, I have to get them back. Like, I have to like work really, really hard to get this person back. And then every once in a while, there will be a moment of clarity where I'm like, wait, who's trying with me? And there might be people who are texting me, checking in, like that kind of thing. And I'm like, oh, but they're not the person who I want to win over. Like I want to win over. I don't know if this is making sense, but it's like there is like sometimes rejection is hard. It's hard to accept that maybe like a friendship has run its course when and then it's like it's also sometimes challenging to switch your lens to be like, oh wait, look at these people in front of me who are so badass, and like they're the ones who actually are showing up for certain things, and I want to create more space for those people, not take it, not like take them for granted. I think that there's, and that goes back to childhood and all of that stuff, but like trying to win people, I think like friendship in a lot of ways, it's a lot of intentionality, but it shouldn't be super, super fucking hard if you're like wanting to be, like if there's a reciprocation. I don't know if that was rambly, but like that's what I've got.
I'll jump in on that for 1 second. Kara, I saw you take a note. If you want, do you want to respond right away? Go ahead.
Oh, no, I write myself because postmenopausal brain. Please go ahead. I got it.
No, I was going to say this is something Karen and I talked about when she was here a couple weeks ago. We've talked about this. I think I talked about this last year on this episode of by nature of my childhood, by nature of a lot of my friendships, there was a lot of my childhood I tried to keep private and didn't want others to see. And I had this summer camp life where through various things, like by design, the friendship was, I will see you in June. We'll have the best summer. I won't see you again, and we won't necessarily talk until I get back. Now, others were much better about letters, but I
Mm.
compartmentalized those lives so severely, and I find now in my older age that I've done a lot of the same thing too, and where I'm very comfortable and secure in my friendships if there isn't communication for a while because I just sort of I trust that setup. Others don't. It's cost me some friendships. It's caused some turmoil in some of my friendships where it's been interpreted as not interested or not putting the work in, which is something I have to own. For some of my friendships, work looks like I need to hear from you more. Like that's just what that is. And that's something, that's part of my job as the other friend is sort of to come up with that. But I have found that that's something I've tripped over as I've gotten older, that I am friendship to me, I think means different things, or I'm secure in some ways where I'm unbelievably insecure in other ways. Like if I find out that there is a gathering locally that I was not included to, the shame spiral,
Mm.
what we've started to refer to as hangxiety. If I wake up the next morning
Oh,
after drinking with my girls, the hangxiety of, oh my God, did I tell that story again? Oh my God, did I ramble? Oh my God, what did I say? If I completely made like
Okay.
so the role of my own mental illness, mental challenges, however we're referring to them right now, plays into that as well. But I will say I think how you grew up in friends and how you were able to treat your friends and what friendship looked like does play into this. And it's something that I'm realizing now continue. I mean, it happened for me during COVID. Excuse, excuse me, and other times where I feel the friendship is there. It's just sort of in this other pocket, and I'm trying to collect as many spoons as I can to try and deal with my life as it exists right now, and I just don't have the spoons. I think it's fine. They don't, and so it's caused stress, but it's I don't know, I'm talking in circles here. I think it just sort of addresses the everybody looking at their friendships differently and how that sort of is a component in the longevity of a relationship, I think. Does that make sense? I don't know if that came out clearly.
Absolutely. And I loved what you said, Katie, and that absolutely made sense. And what's so funny is that like, Tori, what you just said like aligns to what I wrote down to myself, which is that I think Katie, you and I think have talked about this maybe off pod. I don't know if we've mentioned it on the pod, but like this idea of attachment styles, your
yes.
attachment style,
Yes.
that also applies to your friendships. Like,
Yes.
do you have a secure or an insecure, an anxious or whatever attachment style? And that is not just about your romantic relationships. And Tori, what you're describing is like your sense of having a secure relationship with that person, but they're experiencing it as an insecure or whatever. Like, it's just really, it's super interesting to me that we like invest so much energy into understanding our romantic relationships with the love languages and the attachment styles, and there's all this work around it. But like, you're bringing all that same shit to your friendships too.
Yes. I mean,
Would
you go ahead, please, Tori.
Oh, you go, you go.
Oh, I just think this is so resonant for me. I'm like kind of uncomfortable, Karen, because like it's like no, I mean not uncomfortable in a bad way, but just like you totally called it. Like I have been called out by a friend before because when I first moved to Bend and I would come back, she'd be like, "Well, like I actually had another friend who I was coming back so often after like the restrictions lifted. from COVID that one of my friends, she's like, I'm so surprised. I'm like, I'm kind of seeing you the same amount that we used to see each other. And here's the thing, she was saying it nicely, but like, I kind of took it as like, oh shit. Like I live in Bend? And like here's the other thing. So like this is oh gosh, I for the people who live in Bend who are listening to this conversation, I love all of you. I just want to like say that and that's very very real. But here's the thing. I had a girls trip with my Bend friends recently. And my anxious attachment style came out in full force because here's the thing. I It was actually really fun. It was great. It was six of us. It was really great. And I came home and I started crying to Tyler. And he was like, "What's wrong?" And I was like, "Honestly, nothing." But here's the thing. My idea, so my some of my closest friends are in the Bay Area, like in like volume. And I have been holding on to that for a long time. And I realized in the girls' trip that I am holding back with these friends in Bend.
Mhm.
And I am not being my full self. I mean, I am, it's not like I'm not telling them things or whatever, but it's like I'm not fully bringing them in. And I started thinking like the reason for that is because I have like a mutually exclusive thought process around this. Like if I get close to one group, that means the other group is going to go away. And I'm like, well, I can't let the other group go away, but at the same time I live in bed. So it's like and then Tyler's like, well, you can have both. Like it's okay. Like and I was like, no, I can't. Like, I was like, I totally flipped out. And then like I told some of my Bay Area friends this, and they're like, "Oh, that's so interesting. That's like very similar to like an anxious attachment style." And I was like, "Ugh." Like I
Ah,
was like, "This is so." But here's the thing: I don't have always an anxious attachment style toward my friends. I have sometimes a very secure attachment style. It depends on the situation, and it's just it's tough. But like to your point, Karen, about like we do so much excavation and investigation and therapy and all of it around our romantic relationships but like very little around our friendships, but I spend so much more. I mean, yes, Tyler, whatever, but like it's like whatever, but like it's like marriage, but like at the same time like my girlfriends are everything to me, like I just and I have so much invested in those relationships.
So this actually brings it full circle to what I was going to say before. And I would argue that it is happening. That this excavation of female friendship at the very least, I think is happening right now, at least in what I'm seeing. I think women are single longer. Like I'm not an anomaly. There's no such thing necessarily as the crazy cat lady anymore. And there's a big, swath of women that are choosing to stay single because the options are trash bag A or trash bag B. And I'm not bringing a man into this house to look after. I'm not. You need to be a fully formed human, period. Like, no. Um, so I think that female friendships are being strengthened. I think the more therapy people are going to, I think women are demanding more from relationships. I think it's still not, it's still, we're not focusing as much on these relationships, but I will say the older I get, and I do think it's a big testament to the people I surround myself with, but people are talking about their feelings more. People are being more vulnerable about stuff. People are, women in general seem to be, maybe it's the sort of the witchy culture, this whole like, we're only going to be able to band together to save ourselves from this fucking nightmare. Um, so I don't think that the collective world is necessarily talking about the importance of female friendships, but I feel like it's happening. I feel like there is strength, and maybe it's because I'm not standing in the school pickup line feeling judged by wearing my Old Navy joggers instead of, my Lululemon ones. But I do see it sort of shifting a little, I think. Maybe that's optimistic. I don't know.
I mean, I can't believe what time it is. I
I
feel like
know, I
that's a
know we have to
perfect
go. I
note.
feel like this is perfect.
I
Anyway,
know
continue,
that was
Karen. Sorry.
no, that was a perfect note to end on. Ginger Buddha, Galentine's Day tradition. Oh,
It's so
just
fun.
thank
I feel
you.
so lucky to get to talk about these things with you guys. I feel like I forget when we're doing this that we're like recording it for other people's consumption because it just feels like a conversation we would have on the couch.
Yes.
Truly.
Yes.
And I just feel like people are really lucky to get to hear you guys talk about things so smartly all the time, and so impressive how long you all have been doing this, and it's still interesting. And it's still so
Tori,
fun. And
200th episode. You are on our 200th
right
episode.
now,
Yes,
woohoo!
right now. I just realized this. This is the 200th episode. I didn't start. I should have.
Oh, oh my God, I wish
So
I had my
appropriate.
2000 Millennium glasses. I could just put two right here.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Congratulations! This is very cool.
Oh my gosh.
So
I love it.
amazing. Tori, you have been on this
You're
ride
like
with us.
Beyonce.
You are basically Beyonce. I mean,
Oh, no,
this
no,
is
no, no, no.
no,
Do
you're
not.
not.
No, 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 no,
No.
no, no. I am not. No, 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 no.
Oh my
But
gosh,
can
this
we
is
just have a
so
little,
fun
we raise our
though.
coffee cups to Beyonce and her win last night, since we're recording this when we are?
AOTY. Bring
Cheers.
it, bitches.
Love it. Well,
Bring
you
it.
ladies are beautiful. I love you so. Happy Galentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day. You're the best. Thank you for having me again.
Thank you so much. We will see everybody next week.